a second or third team.
Yeah.
And, you know, you don't want to get ANX. You don't want to get INTZ. Both of those teams are incredibly hungry. Really, 1v4 in LYN versus the Chiefs is exactly where they want to be. They don't seem worried about the Oceanic squad at all. So it looks like that is going to be our top 4 right now as it stands today. And LYN need to keep winning to make that happen.
Look, you're exactly right here. And what a better game to do it. They've been looking pretty much impervious all tournament long. So coming up against Rampage, we know that Rampage can offer us some good games. They've had some great ones. They've had some not so great ones, but first game of the day, we'll have to see how they play in LYN. Instantly picking up that Trundle. They ban away the Rek'Sai, Vladimir, and Gragas on their side. Of course, Rampage took away the Gangplank, Cassio, and the Gnar.
That's huge. So Trundle, they really don't think that there is an answer to it in the top lane. Trinity Force users generally do well against Trundle, however. So, you know, if you go something like Echo and you build Trinity Force early, you can generally duel him. Used to see a lot of Sheen Poppy first, back when Trundle was a big pickup.
Have to see what Rampage do answer with that one. They go with the Shen, so we have been seeing Shen kind of answer these split push threats and doing a damn good job of it as well. Have to see if Paz is up to the task, because we know Jirol, especially in his game against the Chiefs, can constantly get in that backline and be an absolute menace.
Yeah, it certainly can, and you know, I respect this. I think that the way I describe the Chiefs versus Lyon game is Lyon had control the whole time. I'm not making any excuses there. But it really was one team fight from tipping in the Chiefs' favor. One thing they lacked was a hard engage. They couldn't really get onto anyone and blow them up. They had to use the double speed-ups to try and get the Vlad Shen into the back line. And that is a weakness. It makes the comp a little bit linear. But if you execute on it well, it also does an incredible job. So I like the fact that Rampage had a look at it. They were like, we like the Shen. The Chief showed that it can work. However, we're going to grab an Alistar. We're going to give it some hard engage and then see if we can get something similar going.
Packing a punch here for the Rampage squad. We'll have to see what Lyon answer with. They will actually go for the Nidalee jungle as well as the Braum support. So Nidalee kind of a hit-and-miss champion here, especially on paper as well with their spears as well as the results in the tournament so far. So we'll have to see if Oddie, who's been playing phenomenal all tournament long, especially on those hard engaged champions, now into a bit of a burst one.
Yeah, and this would be great because if Oddie can prove that he can play like both sides of the coin, you know, hard engage, also early game farming junglers, that would really give Lyon another string to their bow. Interesting game to bring it out against already with such a big front line. I mean, Nidalee historically has struggled against teams with strong front lines. You know, she does get a little bit destroyed by hard engage herself. And if you're just throwing spears into, you know, an Alistar into a Shen, it doesn't do all that much. In saying that, Lyon's front line themselves is already pretty formidable.
Definitely, that will see what Rampage can do to kind of shred through there, or maybe some ability to avoid the spears. But Jin, he's kind of been, oh, there it is, LYN getting locked in. But back to my point, Jin, he's kind of been the main AD carry of this tournament so far. Albus Nox has been having a lot of success on that one, and other teams kind of following suit here. So we'll be seeing that picked up for Marin. But Tussle back on that LYN.
Yeah, LYN locked in. However, I'm going to just jump over to the other side. Mustache lane's still open. So, you know, I'm not sure if I like the Jin pick up this early in, because it's not as strong of a lane as what is that, you know, Mustache bottom lane. So LYN, going back to it, matches early game pressure incredibly well versus Nidalee. Now that the Tiamat build exists, does farm equally as well. You know, it's not like Nidalee is going to be able to take multiple blue buffs in this game, is what sometimes you do as a Nidalee if you want to farm up heavy. Vladimir's taken away, so that's not going to be an option. So I really do favor Tussle's chances. It's also really hard to invade LYN because if he ever catches you, he does 100-0 incredibly well. So, you know, all of a sudden Oddie has to be incredibly careful going into Tussle's jungle. But same can be said vice versa.
And Tussle did a great job on the LYN in game number 1, ending it, I think, on around 8-2, single-handedly killing the Jhin in multiple times. We actually see the Lucian opposed to the Ashe being picked up for White Lotus, but his Lucian has been amazing, to say the least. And also that Lissandra in the mid lane, so a lot of hard CC coming out of that mid lane champion.
Yeah, call them 500 comps. I mean, this is a typical 500 comp. They've got 2 big frontliners and they've got 3 carries at a kind of 500 range, where if you play within the 500 range, they do so much damage, and because there's 3 melees already, that is going to be a good thing. In saying that, this would be a fantastic pickup against such a comp because there is no way to really shut down what Syndra brings. and just so much damage. And also the CC. Now that you can throw out 3 balls, it's really important to note how well Roki can do in this game if he plays well. And one more time, it looks like they're running a team fight into Lyon. Teams seem to think that this is their weakness. Obviously, we don't have the same access to scrim results as they do, but multiple teams running it into them, it looks to be the case. A little bit better of a 1-3-1 out of Lyon, you have to say.
Sure.
But as far as 4-1 goes, Rampage can match them and the team fight will be there.
To see if they can actually make that Syndra work. Very strong champion, a lot of burst potential, and you mentioned that huge stun from range where we got the match up. It's going to be White Lotus taking on Marin, and looking at that KDA, heavily stacked in the favor of White Lotus. He's been doing an impeccable job, especially on champions like the Lucian with that added mobility, and his positioning is already incredible. Just being able to reposition, it seems there's really no weaknesses to this guy's playstyle.
Yeah, there certainly isn't. I mean, White Lotus, as I said, he's really stepped up. He's doing great things. I actually would have given it over to Tussle or Roki. I think that they're the 2 keys right now. Marin is a good player in his own right, don't get me wrong, but he just needs to survive the lane. Let Tussle do his job. Let Roki get a little bit snowballed. Because at the end of the day, if you're a Jhin, if 4 balls go out from the Syndra, you're not going to live through the burst combo anyway. So I don't think it's up to Marin to really stop that man. And Arce needs to be on point on Braum if anyone is going to live through these team fights.
Look, I'm just predicting that Syndra Ultimate coming out being completely blocked away from the Braum and Broken Hearts and Shattered Dreams coming out from Roki here. So, like you said, that Braum's going to be a huge part of the team, whether or not he can make or break defend any lives. That so much damage coming out. Tussle can get in the backline with maybe one Dragon Rage completely disrupt the fight. But you said this Lion squad, people seem to be picking team fights into them, so they must know something that we don't. But they do have that very strong 1-3-1, as you said. They've undefeated. They've got a very strong sense of mind. They're never getting cocky or overconfident. You heard in the interview, they still treat every game like they are the underdogs and that they have to try their absolute hardest to win this.
Yeah, I mean, they went 1-6 last wildcards. There's now 5-0. They're definitely a team that has been on both ends of the IWCQ. And watching them treat the tournament really seriously and with a lot of respect, I'm enjoying it a lot. In saying that, Rampage is the first time that that they've represented Japan. Of course, Dead FM, all the times previously. And they're looking to really push for it. Dead FM weren't really able to get it going in any of their runs. So Rampage, they want to make a name for themselves. They want to have some international success.
Rampage are coming off a win from yesterday, so it's going to be on them to carry that momentum over. It was a first game as well, so see if they are up and awake bright and early, ready to play, because they got a very tough game ahead of them.
There are a couple of mean beards on the Lyon lineup.
I'll agree with that one.
I like them. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'm a little bit biased in this regard, but
maybe. Got quite a mean beard yourself, Spawn.
I wish it would go. But, they're doing a great job there in that department. Want to have a look at the comps again just a little bit, because there really is... Alistar and Lee Sin are the only 2 forms of really hard engage, and Lee Sin's so conditional. Just looking over at how they need to execute on this one, Rampage, Dara needs to be able to get onto the back line somehow with Paz. And when I look down the lineup, that is incredibly hard against a Lucian, against a Lissandra. So watch for that as this game progresses.
We're going to have to see if Syndra can get out those long-range stuns. We're jumping into game number 1 of day number 5 of the International Wildcard Qualifiers. Lyon Gaming currently 5-0 undefeated, looking to take out Rampage and add another notch to their belt.
Yeah, there certainly are. 2 Strength of the Ages junglers coming out, as Arce nearly gets face-checked by 3 members. But we're all good. Mountain Drake first up. And an SKT skin running around Summoner's Rift.
I've seen a few of them, the Kalista and the Alistar, making an appearance in this tournament so far. So always good to see these guys are being a little bit fancy here, but I really want to see how Oddie plays this in Italy, because we've seen him on these tanks, these initiation junglers, and this is so far from that. So I want to see his pathing. I want to see where he places himself in this early game, if he can really make Tussle punished.
Yeah, that's really the question, right? How much work can Nidalee get done? I always say she can farm healthy or she can farm fast. And in the past, we've seen a lot of fast farming Nidalees. Start the spear, get the Gromp going, move on to the blue buff, go straight to Raptors and red, and just, put the jungle on power farm. And it looks like double camp starts here as well. So we've seen this a lot. Just, you know, battle lines drawn up on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, people respecting that double the melee supports no range coming out here. So usually see the harass when there's either a Karma or a Bard supporting that AD carry. So they will be just going back to lane with getting that early level 2 Oddie. Getting Spear second to ensure he gets a nice fast clear tussle. Starting red buff actually.
Yeah, starting red buff is a little bit unique. I mean, you can't get a topside level 3 gank. Looks like he wants to invade or go for an early kill in the mid lane. He's already in. Show me the mid lane.
There it is, first blood, immediately tussle comes up clutch. Shame we missed out on that one, but I'm going to guess Syndra maybe hit a nice stun and tussle straight on the
No, not at all. I don't think. He didn't have level 2. I mean, that was just a level 1 gank there. So he comes in level 2, W's to a ward, gets 2 auto attacks down, and then nails the Q. I mean, you don't really want to flash away from Lee Sin that early, so I can understand why the flash was held. And that's just a really unique gank path coming out of Tussle. He also burnt his flash as well, so is worth it, because now that is a repeat gank. Can definitely get in there and get another one down.
Already in the bot lane, Arce forced to use all of his potions, actually.
All right, let's take another look at it. So, Lysandra pushed up. That's what you have to do. W's in. All right, flashes after, gets the execute. Really nicely done. That's actually perfect setup there from the Lee Sin. Only flashed after the first flash had come out. He has picked up a trackers. This means he's ganking early. If you don't go with the trackers, if you go with the Tiamat, you have to farm because you don't have enough wards to really ward up the jungle and gank at the same time. But when you go with the trackers knives, that means you can repetitively get into lanes with that gap close on your W, pretty much guarantee some kills if flash is not available.
Look, Rampage, they seem really confident on this Lee Sin. They know what types of plays they want to make, getting straight from red to mid, now getting that trackers. I really want to see where he chooses to gank next. All the lanes seem to be doing relatively well on the side of Lyon, though, except for maybe that top missing out on a few CS, but Tussle just taking away his Raptor camps, going to be having that true vision now, smiting it, so should be able to get into a lane for free soon.
Yeah, you can see that he's actually going with a heavy gank path. He's smiting Raptors every opportunity, wants to be able to get in there. Lanes are reversing and being pushed in. This is going to be a counter gank opportunity, however, mid lane for Oddie. Here we go.
Oh, Roki just gets obliterated. The takedown goes through the flash, and he stayed way past his welcome there.
Yeah, he certainly did, and all of a sudden, Oddie looking for a camp here. Tussle has been spotted out. Doesn't need to go pick up all that farm because there is a lot available. That's unfortunate because he was setting up for another gank, but we've said this time and time again that Oddie looks to be one of the better junglers here and really punishing some overextension out of Roki, and Roki now hugely far behind.
Look, so far, both of the junglers making their presence known in that mid lane and getting themselves a kill apiece. Something we're not used to seeing with the current meta. It was usually mid lane was just left completely alone while everyone focused on the other lane. So finally, the mid laners are forced to check their positioning and second guess overextending.
But have a look at this. I mean, sure, first blood went down, but it's already reversed. 200 gold in favor right now of Lyon. It was a little bit bigger, and lanes are pushing back into them. And there's a 7 CS discrepancy in the mid lane, which means that Negatron has been picked up, and now Merrin being stalked out by Nidalee one more time.
Oddie's in a great spot if he's able to hit this spear. Alistair just has to stay by. There is the dash in. Exhaust immediately. The flash comes through. Oddie flashes on top of that. One more auto attack should do it. White Lotus comes in. Actually attacks Dara there. Could be in trouble. Is able to relentlessly pursue in. Gets the kill. And Dara forced to watch. But Oddie already making his mark on the game.
Yeah, certainly is. And you know, that's another time that they kind of thought that Oddie was in the brush and they had a ward available. Just burn the ward instead. They used 3 summoner spells trying to escape. And it amounts to absolutely nothing, Rogi. So at the end of the day, Lyon, one more time, get that early game snowball rolling. This is what the Chief said, is that they're an early game squad, that if you can just survive the early game, you can out-team fight them late. But at the moment, it looks like it's nigh impossible to do. Their early game is just so damn potent behind this superstar jungler.
Look, we have not been giving praise lightly to Oddie. He definitely deserves it, and credit where credit's due, already making 2 very impactful kills mid to bot straight away. And poor Merrin and Roki, unfortunately, the receivers of those deaths. We'll have to see if Dara, spotted out by this pink ward.
I mean, bottom side is completely warded up. That means that Lysandra can just play towards that side of the map. Going to have Ooh, and a teleport burnt actually top lane out of Joral. That's interesting because generally you don't want to teleport versus the Shen. I mean, he doesn't really demand a teleport anyway because his push is incredibly poor. But if he teleports back now to match, that's actually in Paz's favor because he's always going to have the Stand United to be able to take it to the bottom lane one more time.
Have to see what they're planning on here, but straight away a 3-man gank in the mid lane. Roki with no flash available and on a very immobile mage in Syndra. Can't seem to get himself to safety after that one.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to call it early, but at the end of the day, Paz didn't even burn Sound United there. He was just that dead without summoner spells. So this is one of those games that, you know, we said it was going to be hard for Rampage. They got a good composition to be able to take it to them. They got a fantastic start, but just since then, it's all been this Nidalee. And it's going to be a pretty tough ask, honestly, for Rampage to climb back from already about a 1,500 gold deficit.
And you mentioned earlier just how much this Lyon Gaming squad value that vision. Just 3 of them, pinks in inventories, but we're going to have a look at how Roki died here.
Yeah, so another time, I mean, Roki just gets absolutely lit up. Everyone's in the mid lane.
Yeah, there was no hope of surviving that. Lysandra 6, Braum and Nidalee just standing by ready to secure the kill and has the cleanse, but it wasn't available at the time, so maybe be able to avoid a similar gank in the future.
Yeah, but just needs to play towards the top side of the map. I mean, there is absolutely no vision control on the bottom side. In fact, there's just no vision control at all coming through from Rampage.
Only got 1 pink.
Ooh, this is what I'm talking about. Face checking a Nidalee.
Oh, they could be in trouble. There's a Shen ulti coming down. Marin gets obliterated before it even happens. Paz can't make his way in the fight. Tussle trying to pick up one onto White Lotus, but he gets himself a double kill.
That is an absolute disaster coming out. I mean, it's a 4v3 essentially. Paz lends a shield, but at the end of the day, it does not matter. Now 6-1. Dragon going to be picked up. 3,000 gold, and Lyon just look absolutely unstoppable.
Look, there's a reason these guys are 5-0 and the moment. They're playing on a whole different caliber right now at all different types of speeds, and Rampage just can't seem to keep up. They did a great job of getting themselves that first blood, but since then, Oddie, he's just been running rampant around the map.
Yeah, it certainly has, and you know, we already credited Rampage for putting together the draft they needed, but there's one condition. It's being able to get it through that early game, and it looks like that is not the case at all. And I'm just going to call out Tussle. When the Nidalee is heading towards your bottom lane, let's take another look at this. You take out the Nidalee because there's no way there's going to be enough burst damage, really. I mean, the ultimate should have gone over to Marin, not over to Dara. But Nidalee should have never made it into that fight because Tussle should have tried to take the 1v1. Lee Sin with the jump should be able to beat out that Nidalee. Instead, just gets absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, things are starting to fall apart here for Rampage. They need to hold it together if they want any chance of beating out this Lion squad who've been doing so well at punishing any early game disadvantages the other teams seem to accrue. But 2-0-3 onto Oddie already. Picked himself up that Hunter's Potion, so he's constantly going to be topped up. Can see that goal difference already on top of him. 700 over his jungle opponent already. 1,000 in that bot lane. Things are going from bad to worse.
Yeah, White Lotus is actually a machine. I mean, he is just playing so incredibly well. When you have a look at how much gold he's ahead, and then, better yet, the items that it is, he hasn't gone boots or anything like that. He's just gone straight for the Yomas. Right now, his raw power is off the chart. And Oddie actually is going to steal away a blue buff here, so it goes from bad to worse for the Syndra player. Now maybe looking for a gank into the top lane as Tussle. But, you know, realistically, that's going to be a hard gank to go for as well. And what the heck? There's already an Executioner's Calling picked up in the top lane. So Paz wants to be able to kill his lane opponent. I mean, big part of Subjugate is the fact that you get the life back. I guess that's one way to counter it.
He really wants to deal with this Trundle. Doesn't think they have an answer for it elsewhere on the map, it seems. So
I wonder if that means it's going to be an aggressive Shen build. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but Trinity Force on Shen right now does seem to be pretty efficient as Marin just cops half of his health from, you know, a quarter of a culling.
Yeah, he just gets culled down to about nothing. Tussle maybe looking for a back entry into this one. It will get spotted out if he chooses to jump over that wall.
I mean, they've already pinged him out, so that's why they're not pressuring the turret. This is very telegraphed from Tussle. So he's going to have to go back. Doesn't have the flash. If you have the flash and you can go for the big kick, maybe you look for it. But they don't know where Oddie is right now. They've done a great job of pink warding up that side of the jungle. And now, because he is farming out with Deadly Flourish, Merrin's actually just pushing the lane.
Just look how lit up the entire side of Rampage's jungle is, and he takes away the Scuttle Crab with the spear as well.
Yeah, so...
Oh, my lord.
Oddie is definitely putting on another clinic. 2-0-3. It doesn't look like he's in much danger of dying this game either. Currently at 3,000 gold lead, so, you know, Rampage, they're keeping it close. It's only 12 minutes in, however.
Rookie, unfortunately forced to go for those level 2 boots early. Get that magic pen. Of course, on the other side, Say has already completed his Abyssal Scepter, so kind of negate some of that with the extra magic resistance here.
Yeah, and you know, it's not a horrible build path to go for.
Sure.
Magic Pen into Morellonomicon. But the problem is he also had to go on Negatron K, so, you know, he's going to even extend what is a weak point for a little bit longer. You generally want to go for Morello into something like a Rylai's at the moment on Syndra. Treat her a little bit more like a control mage until you get to the incredibly late game where she turns back into an assassin. Oddie doing another good job of counter jungling right now.
He's making his way on in. A nice ward from Rampage will spot out any further attempts at aggression, but you can see Tussle up in that top side. Paz is there as well, and if they want this Executioner's Calling to pay off, they need to start...
They need to kill him.
Yeah, they need to kill the Trundle, or else it's just a waste of gold.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And you can see that they're maybe looking at it right now. But once again, they know that top side of the jungle right now is controlled by Oddie. If a counter gank comes up, then Italy's just going to double kill one more time. So they're a little bit hesitant to pull the trigger on it. Instead, it looks like Paz wants to try and bully. White Lotus is continually freezing up this bottom lane. There's just pressure everywhere. And, you know, Oddie, not one to...
He doesn't like to shy away
favorites. Yeah, he distributes the love evenly, Rogi, which I like to see out of my junglers, right? It's not bottom lane, mid lane. It's, you know, something for everyone.
No, he can make any gank work, essentially, and trying to make something happen in the top lane, but Paz smells something awry, decides to back on out of that one. No reason to be anywhere overextended. Tussle going to get spotted out once again. Every time he walks into this bot side river, there's no way he's not getting seen by some vision, at least.
Anytime he walks anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to start clearing out some wards, but that is such a value pink ward. It's just been there for an incredibly long time. And now they spot him heading back into topside jungle because, you know, they had all the exits warded, so they know exactly where he is right now. Credit to Paz, he's stayed relevant, even with a funky build. But at the end of the day, you know, he's still 800 gold behind because of the way he chose to itemize.
It's going to be quite rough. Rampage looking for a way back in this game, but you mentioned that they have that team fight that's really stronger. So do they just farm up, wait for a dragon to come, or can they try and push their advantages elsewhere, Spawn?
I mean, right now they're looking for a pick, maybe some vision denial. Oddie has been spotted out, so that's an option, but he's 2 levels up.
Yeah.
They need to really secure not getting caught for first turret here. There's not really any way in. I mean, you've been spotted already, mate, and that's half your health. And Saya's got the inside track as well, even without the teleport. That's a second spear. And, you know, they're going to have to give up the turret. This is actually horrible news right now for Rampage, because the idea is stay in lanes for as long as you possibly can. Instead, they're just going to take an Infernal Drake right under the noses, and they even burn the alley ult.
Yeah, Marin, Dara rather, forced to use that defensively. Oddie solos himself out the Infernal. Tussle was recalling in vision, so they knew that was completely safe and looking to get themselves that early gold for the bot lane turret. And there's the Marin and Dara lane recalling out of that one. So White Lotus picks himself up a massive pot of gold off that one. And if he wasn't already far ahead, he's going to skyrocket himself even further.
Yeah, he's massive at the moment. I mean, they're 6,000 gold up nearly as a unit. Wow. They haven't camped any of the lanes at all. This is one of those really rough games because I want to say that there are ways that Rampage can get back in and, you know, maybe generate a pick.
Yeah.
If the map opens up, you can have a look at, you know, playing with vision. But at the same time, everything right now that is being done on the map is just being done to a higher level by LYN. So, you know, unless Rampage really up something in the mid game, they're in a lot of trouble here.
Tussle forced to retreat on out of there. Dara's there as well, just to give him a peace of mind. But all that trouble of putting down those deep wards instantly gets cleared away by Oddie, thanking to that true vision from the Raptor.
And have a look at the blue versus the red in the map. 4 pink wards on the bottom side of the jungle. That's how they secured first turret. And now all of a sudden they're moving it towards the top side of the map. You can see Trundle heading down bottom. Recalls coming out en masse. I mean, they're looking to just rotate White Lotus, who is the strong member right now. I mean, he's pretty much an item and a half ahead of Merrin at only 16 minutes in the game. Merrin's gone back and just finished up a Yomu, so it's 1,700 gold difference between the 80 carries right now.
Yeah, this is looking quite rough for the squad of Rampage. Like you said, they need to try and look for some picks or anything really, but everything that LYN has done, they've done correctly and executed phenomenally, so it's going to be so difficult to find any chink in the armor right now. Roki may be looking for something. He is on that Syndra, and you can never count out the burst damage that a Syndra brings to the team, but once again, another tower down in favor of LYN. White Lotus and Arce picked that one up.
And LYN are really ballsy here because, at the same time, they just didn't stop. I mean, they're continuing to push through. Saya's up there. They're looking for a turret dive on the tier 2. Okay, if you don't want to defend the tier 1, that's fine. We'll keep pushing through. We'll actually just go for your tier 2 turret. And you can see that they've pushed up the entirety of it. It's not going to have any deep freezes. Now, all of a sudden, jungle control ceded over to LYN. Yep. And they're just playing this step-by-step picture perfect.
Tussle can't find his way on in. And why would he? Because there are 4 members of LYN just invading the jungle and taking it down by brute force. They get the side lane towers now, maybe looking for the mid one, but they see a Rift Herald.
Yeah, exactly right. And you just give that one over to Nidalee because she's going to be able to jungle even quicker with it. As I said, there's not really all that much Rampage can do right now, but buckle up.
Saya might be in trouble. Still has the ultimate to keep himself safe should he need. Dodges out the third shot. The fourth one comes through, but a massive attempt by Rampage. A lot of resources expended. That was Stand United as well as Curtain Call, and Saya, no summoners burnt, no ulti burnt, walks on out.
Yeah, that's one of the times that as a Shen, you're like, please interrupt me so I can just stay to farm this wave. But doesn't get interrupted, costs himself a big wave. I mean, Paz was the only one that was really staying even in this. And going even against the Trundle kind of isn't good enough because he does eventually just outscale. You
can see Oddie's picked himself up that Rod of Ages now. So 18 minutes in the game. By 28 minutes, will be fully stacked. But that gives him just so much health and mana to play with. And we said this guy likes to be on the front lines of the fight. And what a better item build to go for it. Roki might be in trouble. White Lotus makes it look easy. Takes him out.
Yeah, I don't even think there's a might be in there. I mean, White Lotus right now, 4-0-1, 190 CS. He's 50 up at 19 minutes. He's on the clock. Merrin is not, and Roki pays the ultimate price for it. Another turret looking to fall in this mid lane. I mean, he's a full item up, and it's a black cleaver at that. So mid-game build well and truly online right now for White Lotus, and as I said, I don't know if there's a better man to have it.
Arce trying to find something onto Tussle here. Does get caught out, though. Now, Tussle just completely obliterated by White Lotus. He's doing so much damage right now, but it's a 1 versus 3, and they're going to be running away from him, actually, because here comes Oddie in the back line. He's fine. Merrin Gerald's in the back of that one. Merrin, he goes down. Dara gets a nice knock up, goes for the flash over the wall. Sia comes on through, in onto Paz. There's a Glacial Tomb, and there's White Lotus taking out Oddie.
And pretty much a delayed ace at only 19 minutes into the game. They're going to knock down another turret for it. Mid lane also not long for this world. It's an 11,000 gold lead, and this is a one-sided affair.
An absolute whitewash coming through right now. LYN, they see any structures on the map, they take them with ease. They get that bottom tier 2 mid. Tier 1 looking to already pressure the mid tier 2. White Lotus going to back off after getting himself a lot of gold and a lot of kills, and tower number 3 goes down after that fight. White Lotus picks himself up a Zeal.
And one more time, I said don't be impatient. You don't need to push the tempo of this game because at the end of the day, you have a little bit of scaling and that's the last card you can draw upon. But no team comp ever in League of Legends is better at 12,000 gold down at any stage of the game. So right now, LYN just absolute complete control. They already had the Drakes in their favor. Next mountain's going to spawn in only 20 seconds. And Rampage, yeah, you better ward the Baron because your back is against the wall.
I was going to say Rampage is the chair in that recall right now because LYN are completely knocking them down without a fight. Tussle, he's a stranger in his own jungle, and how could you not be when Oddie's playing phenomenal?
Rift Herald to White Lotus. Okay, well, he's playing really well. Why not? At the moment, he's got a Zeal. He could probably duel anyone 1v1, so, chuck him in a side lane. That's an interesting call, but Oddie doesn't really need it. He's already 40 CS up.
It looks like we'll be getting themselves a third dragon of the game. Will be an extra mountain under their belt. Should help with the inevitable Baron that they could take at their leisure.
I don't even know if they have to take it. I mean, they don't have incredible Baron damage already, so
True.
I think that you just have a look at top lane turret, continue to siege up, look for a turret dive if necessary. I mean, if anything, they'll play with the vision around Baron. They've already done such a good job of vision control. And, you know, these are the things that I like pointing out. How do they get these early game leads? Well, this time around, it was all about knowing where the counter gank was, because you could see how confidently Roki was playing in the mid lane, so they go for the early gank, get that back in the favor of Saya. And then it was about controlling bottom side vision. I mean, even though they're an early game lineup, the way that they set it up very much is through a very good understanding of a game. So that's why I really like this Lyon lineup. They play the game properly. They don't cut corners. They set up their vision control. They don't dive unnecessarily. They wait for you to get impatient and make mistakes. And time again, that has occurred at this IWC tournament. And they've shown that when they are playing their game, they are the best team.
Look, it seems to be an absolute winning recipe for them. Complete understanding of the game and how your opponents play, because Oddie is constantly in the right place at the right time. You mentioned, oh no, mid got killed, we'll just kill mid. Gums bot gets some kills there. Make sure that Joral, because Paz, he went for that Executioner's Calling, so instantly Joral's thinking, he's going to try and kill me. They're going to try and dive me. Whereas Oddie's up in the top, taking away the red buff as well, and 3 members of Rampage just forced to sit and watch.
And really, Paz is the only one that went equal in his lane. So you understand why Oddie went up there and shadowed it last.
Yeah.
Now Baron has been kicked off, but they're not actually going to commit to it.
Maybe just looking for a pick with the Syndra. There comes in. Glacial Tomb instantly destroys. White Lotus is godlike.
That is really unfortunate. Well, that is as well. But
proves he's not a robot.
Tussle was available, had the ability to get out of that one, however, didn't pull the trigger on it soon enough. And, you know, comes over the wall and gets destroyed. RC's just going to block this one out. There's no point even firing bullets at this stage.
Yep, just going to get smited away. Oddie and the gang secure that one. Lyon in a very commanding position, as if they weren't already.
I mean, and even when you have a look at it, the only play to be made at that stage is, you know, a cross map. Syndra disappeared into Fog of War, down near Raptor Camp. So all of a sudden, Joral just backs away, doesn't push his luck, recalls. He's going to go back now into the wave with extra item purchases as well as the Baron buff. It's just the little things that Lyon is doing at the moment. Any other top laner kind of would have stuck it around. Maybe it's a 50-50 that the mid laner shows up, you actually fall down and die. All of a sudden you can't execute with the Baron buff. They really do play the game step by step, very methodically. And that's why their setups always look so clean, because they're not cutting these corners.
It's going to be a very big challenge to anyone to take down this Lyon roster if they keep playing this well and just perfectly paced. You mentioned every stage of the game, they're making the correct decisions. And a lot of teams are struggling to keep up that level of consistency, but not Lyon. Merrin forced to pop the Ghost Blade just to respect Sayer, and how could you not right now?
Yeah, exactly right. So all of a sudden they zone them away. You know, Merrin right now has got 2 items. Say is working on item number 4.
White Lotus uses a culling, takes him down very, very low. Merrin has to walk back to the fountain after that one. Roki doing what Syndra allows him to do, I guess, picking up those minions, buying himself some time, but the cannon minion going to start sieging away on that top lane inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and really now they've got the 3-1-1 set in. They can't defend any of the turrets. I mean, they have to pick a fight on one of them. But turret's already fallen down. Maybe it's too late.
I think it's a little too late for that one, as they might be losing bot lane tower. No, everyone from Lyon actually rotating up. They want to play this one out as a team. Get that inhibitor to help them secure the rest of the map in the mid. Saya and Joral get that mid lane tower starting to go to work on the inhibitor.
You have to fight eventually, Rampage. At this rate, they're just going to take your whole base at 17,000 gold. Here we go.
Oh, Paz has been snared up. There's the ulti from Dara. He knocks away White Lotus. Curtain Call comes down, but White Lotus, he's so damn strong, but still has to respect the burst potential of Roki's Syndra.
So they back away in the end, but Rampage, they pull the trigger. Oh,
We'll say it does get stunned up. Can't get knocked back into the fight. Does get the kill in the process, but now he sees Merrin. He's so damn strong, able to ult himself. Gets a little bit of health back on that one. Culling coming on in. It's just shredding through Paz's armor.
Yeah, that's the tanky member right there. And I mean, they're going to knock down the third inhibitor. You need a fight before the first two fall. And it looks like right now Lyon are going to make it 6-0.
Oh, Spear's just coming through, taking them is Roki. He can't seem to find a minion to defend him from that one, and barreling down the Nexus. 2 towers remaining. There comes Saya. He uses a Proto Belt to get on in, does get the kill onto Syndra. Paz going to get stunned up. One more auto protection to him, but Marin, he's in the thick of it. The exhaust gets him down, and now Paz not looking long for this world as White Lotus, once again, an immaculate performance. 9-0-4 as the Nexus falls. 6-0, Lyon remain undefeated and remain the dominant force in the IWCQ.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you have a look at it, the Nidalee didn't die. Love hug to the screen there out of Saya. He was the one that died at the end. And, you know, White Lotus one more time, absolutely godlike. So hats off to the Lyon lineup. The more I see them, the more I like. I mean, you just look at the intricate details of what is going on, pointing to the Lyon as well. Very proud team. And, you know, they should be right now. They're definitely putting on a performance. And Latin America in the past have not looked strong at the IWC tournaments. But right now, they look like an absolute powerhouse.
No, when they came into this event, there were a lot of question marks and kind of shrouds surrounding these guys. How are they going to play? You mentioned last IWCI going 1-6, a very abysmal performance, but this is a completely revitalized roster. The addition of Oddie seems to have worked wonders. Say it in the mid lane. White Lotus, now their AD carry, has been playing out of his goddamn mind, and the only team that could maybe is there hope for Albus Nox Luna, sorry.
Potentially. I mean, they're also a really good team. I think that the top 4 teams are reasonably close. And, you know, I think that the standings actually do a pretty good job right now. I think as we take a look at some replays here, this is the first blood as Tussle comes in. I think that, you know, right now, Lyon definitely showing they're the best. ANX, they look to be a clear-cut best. And then, you know, it's out of 3 members, as this was just all kinds of bad. I mean, when you go 3 for nothing in the bottom lane and White Lotus is just able to dance around the entirety of your team, that's not going to ever end up well. But out of Dark Passage, the Chiefs and INTZ, it looks relatively even right now. And if the Chiefs beat Dark Passage today, they look to be the best of that bunch, I guess it's fair to say. But there are definitely 2 teams sitting at the top for me right now in the CIS region, as well as now Latin America North.
Look, you can see Oddie, it doesn't matter what type of jungler he's playing, he's seeming to play the map to perfection. Saya with a great pickup on that Syndra. We've seen him play other things as well, but making that one work for him. And just looking at this squad, there's just no weaknesses.
Yeah, there certainly is, and I'm really happy that we saw Syndra this game, because I've been saying it the entirety. I think that she is probably one of the top 3 mid laners now that Aurelion Sol has been disabled. Syndra, you know, Lissandra, as well as that Talia. Vladimir's in there, but in my opinion, he should just be banned more often than not. So we'll see exactly how this tournament continues to progress, but that game was an absolute whitewash. I mean, Lyon should take a bow, because that was honestly a great performance.
Look, they played it perfectly from the word go. They got so far ahead just off the back of Oddie's pressure. Mid, bot, top, soloing out dragons, and their vision control seems to be what allows them to do that. Anytime we looked at their inventories, 4 to 5 pink wards across the board.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's what it all came down to. The bottom lane vision control just allowed him to play up and aggressive, and you could see the Tussle continually smarting wolf camps. He was just playing around that incredibly well, going through lanes, making sure that he had the correct pressure set up.
Alrighty, guys, we're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, more IWCQ